Hi guys, Assalamualaikum. Okay, waiting for Ustazah to come on, and we are going to talk about Shubha. And if you guys have any questions, just leave it in the question mark box at the bottom, okay? And before we move ahead, I just want to apologize because I am a bit sengau today. Yeah, I'm actually quite sick, to be honest. Yeah, so I'm a bit sick, but inshallah everything will be okay. Okay, Ustazah is here already. Okay, so for those of you guys who don't know Ustazah Nazira Sheikh Alwi, I want to just introduce you guys because the asatizah that we have chosen for our happy life to handle our questions somewhat are questions, our own questions. They are really, really very established and very educated people. So I want you guys to know a bit about her, okay? So she graduated from Al Sagoff Arab School. After that, she continued her studies in Insania University, after which she went to Al Azhar University to complete a degree. In there, she majored in Quran and interpretation. And then after that, she pursued masters from American Open University in Cairo and graduated with the distinction. So today, she is a freelance speaker, translator, and she's also right now residing in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So she's not in Singapore, she's in Saudi, and she will be helping us handle the questions. Okay, Ustazah, somehow your request failed. I think you need to make another request to enter, okay? Hi, Sarah. Ustazah is here already, but I'm not too sure why her request to join in actually failed. So, wait for her to give me another request. Yes, Sarah Iman is there. How you guys doing? You guys have any questions for me? You can already you can already put it in the comments, or there is a question mark box at the bottom. You can just go and ask questions there. Yeah, but I'll tell you guys first. Like under Shubha category, what people like to ask me most is actually about bubble tea. So we see what Ustazah has to say about it, okay? Hi, Assalamualaikum Ustazah.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah.
How is it? What happened just now? There be a connection problem, eh?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's a connection problem, but I was being exiled. I don't know why.
Okay, thank you Ustazah for joining us today. I've already introduced you
Pleasure.
to everyone who's listening in.
Yeah, actually, I heard that, and it was after the introduction, I was exiled from the video.
Okay, but it's okay. Alhamdulillah, now you're here.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
So, so before I macam go ahead and ask you questions about this topic, maybe you want to share with us about macam the definitions of shubha, because like what we discussed previously here, people like what I noticed in the halal space is that people like to basically ask haram or halal, so they like to especially in my DMs, especially when I'm the one that macam talk about halal matters, or I talk about my halal auditing space, halal auditing experience. People like to macam give me a piece of food item, or macam ask me about a specific food item, and then ask me like, Jom, halal ke tak,
Okay, so basically you became the fatwa. They wanted a ruling from you.
Yes, they wanted a ruling from me. So I feel like macam I can give you an opinion, but that not necessarily is fatwa. But it's funny how macam right now I'm full aware that my opinion carries weight. So even if let's say I decide to eat at a non-halal restaurant, that people would legitimately think that is
take it as non-halal. Yeah. Like what I have always think these celebrities, influencers, they have to be very careful because their words really carry weight. So yeah, I think it's a big responsibility for you, especially when everybody come to you and ask for is this halal, is this haram.
Yes, and that is why I think it's time for these conversations, because right now I feel that the community is still asking whether this is halal or haram, but a lot of people are not aware of the hukum in between that, and that is shubha. And for whatever reason that it is shubha, it becomes difficult for me to explain it actually.
Okay,
So that's why I
okay.
thought maybe Ustazah, you can help me with this. Maybe you can explain to us macam what is syubha, and in what areas can macam food items kira become like syubha, and instead of letting it be like clearly halal or clearly haram.
Okay, inshallah, I try my best. I'm not an expert in this area as well, but none of us are. I believe each and every one of us are on our learning journey, because seeking knowledge is an ongoing process. Then, I would like to start with sharing with viewers the definition of shubha. Okay, so I'm going to share 3 definitions here. Basically, they would mean almost the same, but they come from different people. So I think it's only fair that I share the basic definition. Okay, so shubha, it is something which is doubtful. Okay, something which is doubtful, and you suspect, you have this feeling of suspect whether they are halal or haram. Okay, so that is definition number 1. Okay, and then shubha is also defined as any food or drink which lies within the gray area. Okay, and does not fall clearly under the halal or haram classification. Okay, so it's not clear cut. Okay, it's in the gray area. It's not clear cut whether it's halal or haram. And definition number 3 would be there is an ambiguity in it. Okay, whether it is and shubha, Jung, is not only on food or drink, or it could be on anything else. It's very general, but what we are talking about today would be on specifically food and drink. Okay, so to summarize these 3 definitions, anything which you are doubtful about and you cannot find any clear-cut rulings whether it is halal or haram, then it just falls under the category of shubha. It is actually not very difficult to comprehend, but because many times we tend to take it for granted. Oh, it's not here, it's neither there, then can lah. It's like that. But there is more, like what you mentioned just now, there is more to than just halal and haram. There is something in between which many of us do not know it even exists. Which brings me to the next point that I want to share. There is a hadith. It's a very popular hadith. I believe many of you might have come across it. It is compiled by Imam Bukhari, and it is a hadith that means that what is lawful is evident. Innal halala bayyinun. What is lawful is evident. Wa innal harama bayyinun. And what is unlawful, haram, it is also clear. It is evident. Okay. And in between, there are things which are doubtful. So there are actually things that are doubtful. It's not as easy as halal, haram, okay, yeah. No, it's not like that. In the Prophet ﷺ himself has already told us 1400 years ago, whatever is in between. Indeed, there is something which is in between, and these are called mutashabihat. This is called shubha, or there is another word is mushbuh. Okay, so today we learn a new term, like it's not only shubha, it is also known as mushbuh. So at any point of time you see the word mushbuh, you know it is shubha. Okay, and Prophet ﷺ continue, he said that which many people do not know. So indeed, this shubha thing, this mushbuh thing, many people do not know about. Okay, and this is my peak, this is my point. Prophet says, he who guards against shubha keeps his religion and honor blameless. Okay, so point number 1, there is such thing which is called shubha, which is doubtful, which is unclear, okay, which is in the gray area. Point number 2, which I think is the most important thing, is that whoever guards himself against shubha, he is keeping his religion and honor blameless. So it's something that we should strive to. Okay, if you have watched last week's Ustad Farouk punya video, again, you would know that he mentioned it's not about eating and drinking only. It's not about the food and drink only, but it is about the process as well. Process of what? Process of building our character. So it's not something which we think that Allah is only food and drink and whatever happens after that, it will come out. You know, it's not as easy as it will come out. Yes, it will come out, but before it comes out, it goes through the whole of our body. And yeah, I totally agree with Ustad Farooq when he mentioned that there is an effect in building our character. So I don't blame people, those of you who says that we have no idea there is such thing, because Prophet also say that many people do not know. But those of you who are watching this, now you know
I
already.
know.
Now you know already, and it's become a responsibility to you.
Yeah, I want to quickly ask you macam a follow up to that. So macam what I often hear is macam kalau how to say, I'm the one who always macam tell people that, oh, okay, so this product kan, it is syubha. It's not like there is some dubious ingredients inside. So I will never outrightly say that, oh, ni haram. No, I will say that this is syubha, and we are avoiding this not because it is haram, but because it is dubious. Right? And you know the status. So that is my advice. So
And I think that it's a good approach. It's a good approach not to, you know, saying outrightly it is haram, because it might not be. It might not be. And the life, or rather the world that we are living today, there are so many new things. So I think it's unfair if we just outrightly say that it is haram. Okay, yes, I know that in the Quran, Allah has explicitly mentioned like "Hurimat alaykumul maita wa dam wa lahm al-khinzir." Like there are certain things that explicitly has been stated that it is haram. But the world that we are living today, there are a lot of things that I listened to the live last week, and you know, to pronounce the word what, fogra.
yeah.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is there are a lot of things today that even to mention, to say it is a little bit difficult. So I think it's unfair for us to outrightly say it is haram. So what you are doing, your approach, I think that is right. But we have got to do a lot of research about it.
And then what? And then after that, after I tell them that you know this is syubha, okay? And then they will be like, Jules, why you tell me? You know, if I don't know, then it's okay, what?
Yeah, I understand. Now that you tell it's shubha, then you know, oops, you know, things like that. But
So
otherwise you would have taken
is
it.
that right? Or is there like a better approach to that?
No, I think if you know something which is not right, it is your responsibility. The amana falls within your shoulder to tell people, because why would you want to hide something which you know that it might not be halal in the first place, right? Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the iman of a mu'min is not complete until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. Would you want to eat something which you are not sure of its permissibility or not? You wouldn't want that, right? So why would you want your fellow brothers and sisters are consuming that? So you are just doing your best in educating them. I mean, if it's not you, someone else would be doing it, right? So educating people, empowering people is part and parcel of life. We do not want to enter Jannah on our own, because there's a lot of good foods there. Everything is halal. And we do not want to be there all alone sipping your Earl Grey tea and eating scones and all that, right? You want the fellow brothers and sisters to be there with you. So that's hard work, and it starts in dunya. And obviously doing something good will always, you will not get negative, you will not very much get positive feedbacks like what you had. Why you tell me in the first place? You should have kept it. You know?
Yeah.
So that comes. I mean, it's a package. It's a package of doing da'wah. Not everything you say would be acceptable in your favor. So I think you being in this business, which I see as a form of da'wah, this is something that you have to endure lah.
Okay, I will try to macam coax my heart. So you guys who macam keep on telling me like don't tell you things, right? No, okay? If the knowledge has arrived to you, the knowledge, it means Allah intended for you to have that knowledge. Whether or not it's through me, it means Allah had intended for you to have that knowledge that the particular item is shubha. Whether or not it's through me, you received it. So it's not my
Yes,
fault.
guys, if it's not Jum, it would be someone else. So,
Okay. Then, okay, I want to talk about like some favorite food items lah, kan? That are macam syubha situation.
hmm,
Okay, I'll tell you one of the items which we have received that we okay, I have received lah, kan? These are, I would say, syubha. In the end, we choose not to feature, kan?
mm-hmm.
One is do you know what is kombucha?
Yeah,
Have you heard?
I've heard of that. It's the in thing now, right?
Yes. Okay. So people like to drink kombucha because of the probiotic punya
Mm.
qualities that it has. It helps with digestion, it promotes a healthy lifestyle, stuff like that. So overall promoted as a good for your body lah. Kan? But the thing with kombucha is that there is alcohol content inside. Okay. So as
Okay.
with any macam dubious or not so clear-cut products, usually we will have to wait for macam fatwa to be released on it. Whether Singapore ke international ke, that is our approach in the halal certification side lah. You know, whether or not because halal certification becomes macam a legislation or a benchmark kan, whether or not something is halal or not. So if kombucha is halal, then naturally there would be some certifiers who would have already certified it as halal, right? But until that happens, it still falls under the grey area. You get it? There is, and the funny thing was that it was a Muslim-owned company that brewed the kombucha, and I've seen many Muslim-owned businesses that do this. So they brew the kombucha at home, but what they don't realize is that when they are making the kombucha, they're actually making alcohol. So when you open it, there is a whiff of alcohol lah. Yeah, so for someone who's like well traveled like me, I know what alcohol smells like. Or macam if you explore many different areas in Singapore, you can actually know what alcohol smells like. But sometimes because us as Muslims we are not exposed to alcohol because it's not our lifestyle, then you might not know that is alcohol that you're smelling. You know.
Okay,
So,
okay.
how do we approach this situation? I'm not asking for a fatwa from you, Zaza. I'm asking macam what
I am in no
what is the
position to,
recommended
to, to
approach?
give a fatwa anyway.
Yeah, so we're not looking for fatwa. But what's the recommended approach? Like, should we macam avoid and then wait, or should we macam acknowledge the good parts of the drink and consuming anyway for its benefits, while waiting for, I don't know, rulings to come out on it?
I would say personally, subhanallah, Allah created us human being with two things that none other creations are given to. Tau. We are created with intelligence, okay? In Arabic, it's called akal, kan? And we are created with gut feelings as well. Okay, so those of you who always say that I have sixth sense and all that, kan, it's actually true, tau. Only that you don't commercialize it lah. Some people they have sixth sense, but they make it like big, exaggerate, sentimental, things like that, kan. But actually, it is true. We are created with intelligence as well as gut feeling. Sometimes you don't need a PhD to tell you that this is in the gray area. You can use your intelligence that Allah has given you as well as the gut feeling to already derive hukum, whether that is shubha or not, because it's clear cut. You don't know whether it's halal, you don't know whether it's haram, and from your intelligence and your gut feeling, you already know that it is shubha. But many times the things that we know, we refuse to work upon it. We look for loopholes. We look for the possibility of it being okay. Because so I think that is not the right approach, because most of the time our gut feeling does not lie to us now. The moment we have doubts, the moment we have this question in our head, boleh ke? Seriously? Macam tak percaya. The moment we have that, it already shows that we should leave. We should leave that thing. Rather than, try it out and looking for excuses and thinking that could be what, because the more we give into our feelings, then the more we'll fall into the conspiracy of shaitan. Okay, and this brings me to what Imam Ghazali he says, shubha on food will become wickedness, because we feel it is not haram yet, so it's still okay. As long as it's not
Mm.
haram. So in the Quran, Allah explicitly mentioned what is haram, and this is not haram. So why is it not okay then? Okay, but we have got to understand, although that it is not there yet, there is no fatwa coming out saying that this is haram yet, can we've got to understand that even if it is still shubha, once we consume, it will become wickedness. Okay,
Mm.
and it is continuously being practiced. It will affect our, because you've got to understand our mind, our body, and our heart is all interconnected. Okay, so if something which is not halal enters our body, it will affect the rest of our organs, namely our heart, our ibadah, and everything else. Okay, so Imam Ghazali he says that shubha has to be omitted and leave out. And he said that the pious will leave shubha food out of their lifestyle. Okay, so what is pious? Pious is someone who has iman, and we claim that we are mu'min. We claim that we have iman, right? But we pick and choose. Yeah, I'm a mu'min, I have iman, but this is still okay because it's not in haram yet. So cannot. We cannot pick and choose up to our own convenience. The moment we know that it is not halal, albeit it is still not haram, it means that it falls under the gray area. The category whereby it is not confirmed top yet that it is halal. And the moment we know that, the best approach would be to leave it. But viewers, I'm not saying that it's easy. Don't get me wrong. So don't think that you Saza very easy lah. You say leave it. No, I definitely know it's not easy. There are things, to be honest, I do say there are things which are shubha happens to be my favorite. Kind of like bubble tea. For those of you who knows me, knows that I love bubble tea. So it's not an easy thing for me to leave it out of my lifestyle. It's a struggle, to be very honest. It's a struggle, and I think Allah put me in Riyadh for a reason, because there's no bubble tea here. So the bigger picture, I keep asking myself, like, why, Ya Allah, why I'm settled in Singapore? Why do you have to send me here? But maybe this could be one of the reasons, because I'm struggling. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm not going to share my life story with you, but what I'm trying to say is, I know it's a struggle. I know it's not easy. But the good news is, it's doable. It's achievable. If we put our heart to it, inshallah, it's achievable.
Mm. I
Mm.
want to elaborate a little bit on kombucha for the sake of our audience, in case that macam you guys are looking for a macam approach to how to handle macam your approach to kombucha. The reason why I brought up kombucha is because it is one of the products which is right now trying to enter the halal market space, and how we know it is
Okay.
because us as the halal food media, we will be the one of the first to be receiving requests for us to promote such products.
Oh,
So we
okay.
will choose whether we want or not to promote it. Yeah, so that's why the question is here lah. And the reason why I wanted to just highlight two properties of kombucha, because some of the viewers will ask, just now you mentioned that there's already alcohol in kombucha, isn't it outrightly haram? And where is the contention? Why is it shubha instead of like outrightly haram, right?
Yes,
It's
yes.
actually because of the content of alcohol. So there is the understanding of macam the alcohol is how much alcohol is it, and you drink, whether you drink for the reason to to let loose, or you drink for the reason to benefit, and how much the alcohol, whether it will influence your mind or not, intoxicating capabilities of this alcohol. Because the main contention also is that even if you drink kombucha, you will not be intoxicated. You get me? So if you are not intoxicated, then shouldn't that drink be halal? You get me?
But why do you want to wait until you are intoxicated?
No, that's the thing. You drink it for the benefits, for the probiotics, for your digestion, for your whatever. And when
Okay,
I drink
okay.
it, I'm not intoxicated, what? So if I'm not intoxicated, so it should be halal, right? You get what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that is the reasoning being used when you read about it online, digital space.
Okay, okay.
And there are companies who have already macam outrightly sell kombucha as a halal product. So whether or not someone sells kombucha as a halal product, kan, whether or not it's certified, that's where I want macam you guys, the viewers, to listen to what Ustazah has to say, and make your own decisions from there. Because kombucha is kombucha, it doesn't, the properties do not change. You get what I mean? Yeah. So if the fact that it is probiotic, it does mean that there is some fermentation going on, and that means there is alcohol inside there. But how much alcohol, that is the question, and whether it intoxicates, that's the second question. And therefore, this is a
Okay.
point of contention, and therefore, this area will always be under shubha. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it will
you
always
need
be
to
under the gray area. Yeah. So yeah, if things like that, I would say that you need to be empowered, you need to be educated, you need to know whether, because if you are a kind of person that only looks for halal label, then obviously you will take it because there is halal label, right, on the kombucha bottle, then you would just take it as it is. But if you are someone who looks beyond halal logo, then you will be able to make a wise decision for yourself. Okay, so if you understand the process of how kombucha is made, is derived and all that, and yeah, I would say that it would definitely be in the gray area. And as long as it's in the gray area, it's best to avoid it. But can, when you say that is when you say it's best to avoid it, when I encourage you to leave it, I would say that we have to do it with adab. Okay, we do it, number one, because we have knowledge. Okay, we are educated, we are empowered, and therefore the decision is being took that we would like to leave it. Okay, when you leave it, you empower others and you do not shame the product. Okay, this is very, very important. Sometimes can, when we feel that, oh, we know why we are doing what, we tend to get emotional, and then we find it's within our right to tell the public in such a way that we are shaming others, and that is wrong. Okay, while you are empowering others, it has to be done delicately and laced with adab. That is very important. So because you were asking me what is the approach just now, can, yes, leave it, but you don't just leave it and for yourself. Macam you can, you tell people this is shubha, and people were saying that, why did you have to tell me and all that? Because you cannot just leave it for your own self. You have to leave it and you have to empower others also. But while empowering others, it's very important to do it laced with adab. We are not in this world to be shaming one another, but we are here to educate and empower each other.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Zaza, for that. It's a reminder to me, especially to handle this properly. Because usually the approach will just be, I'm sorry, we do not feel comfortable promoting this product. Full stop. And it's all done privately, yeah. So
Okay, yeah.
so it's privately. So they will basically get the hint. Sometimes they will call and ask, macam they just want to know why.
Why?
An
Yeah.
example of this is actually, I don't know, Ustaz, I got time for one more example. It might be a little
Yeah, why
controversial.
not? Why not?
Bring
This
on
is
all
a
the
discourse,
controversy,
right?
before kombucha, actually, what we receive a product to promote is actually non-alcoholic wines.
Okay.
So it's and it's again sold by Muslims. So
Yeah, there's
therefore,
a lot of it here in Saudi. There's tons of it, tons of it.
so macam that's where macam it's sold by Muslims. So therefore they approach us for to promote the product. Tapi we actually, okay, for me, I approach it from a very scientific point of view because that's where I'm trained. Yeah. So we did experiment with we received the item. Then we then after that I looked into the process of how non-alcoholic wines are made. So there are two ways that you can make it. One is you make the whole product and it becomes wine. Lepas tu you distillate. So you distillation is like you expose the whole liquid into different temperatures such that you can remove the alcohol from that process.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's one way. The other way is they produce the whole item but they stop the process before the drink becomes alcohol.
Okay.
So therefore it is being sold as a non-alcoholic macam or
Alcoholic.
malt drink. Yeah. But malt is the stage of the drink before it becomes alcohol. Get me? Okay. So so I said, okay, so my team received it, the products was already in our office. So I told my team, okay, let's do it this way, we're gonna expose the drink to air and see what happens.
Okay.
So we did. So we just macam, it doesn't require much. You just open the bottle and you keep in your fridge. Or you just don't keep it too much. Just keep in your fridge. Don't open it too much. Just macam gitu je, loosely put it in the fridge. Right? And then after that, the next day, you open it, then you smell it. Do you smell alcohol?
Oh, okay.
So that was the barometer that we used to decide whether we're going to promote this or not.
Okay,
And this was
okay.
before fatwa was issued. Macam
Mm.
after that, there was a FAQ fatwa. Muiz issued a statement to say that it's haram. But and they stated their reasons lah. Yeah. So that is another example of macam syubha situation, but you can have a different approach to it. But this is something that I also want to ask you, because the reason that the fatwa came out, the FAQ that Muiz wrote, kan, the fatwa mentioned that it is because of the lifestyle it promotes. You get what I mean? So it's a different reason altogether as to why they disallowed these non-alcoholic wines or non-alcoholic malt drinks to be sold in halal certified establishments.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, you get what I mean? So because it mimics the lifestyle of the non-halal lifestyle. You get what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So instead of saying it is haram because of its ingredients and process, it is said it is haram because of the lifestyle.
And whether that falls under macam is another whole syubha category, because right now, since the fatwa has been issued in Singapore, kan, then it's Singapore lah. But when I travel, then
it's a different thing then.
It's a different thing. Right? So like a mufti in another country might issue a different fatwa on it. Kan? Am I right? Am I right to say that?
You are right. Yeah. And that is where our knowledge and empowerment comes into the place. You might be wherever you are in the world, but if you know that this is not the right thing to do, regardless the fatwa says that it is, maybe another country would say that it is halal, because in Saudi, non-alcoholic wine are halal. It is sold widely, and you can see that if you go to the shopping, to the supermarket, the locals, their trolleys will be full of that, because it's non-alcoholic, right? And it's halal in Saudi. It is halal because it's not alcoholic. In the first place, it is not alcoholic because of the process or whatever they say that it can be consumed. So you might be in a country where it says that it is halal. But when you are empowered, you have that knowledge, you would know. And you, like what I mentioned, you would be someone who looks beyond the halal logo. I'm not saying that you should look beyond the halal logo and create a ruckus now and start questioning Muiz. Are you sure this is halal? Now Susan Nazira say we have to look beyond the halal logo. So everything which is halal, I'm going to question Muiz. How sure are you that this is? No, I'm not encouraging. I'm not telling you to do that at all. But at least for your own self, okay, please don't quote me and say that, okay, now I'm going to, question everything that Muiz has already said halal onto. No. But what I'm trying to say is, when we are empowered, when we have that knowledge, we'll be able to understand. They might have their reasons on saying why it is halal, but when it comes to us personally, we know why it's not, and we are gonna do it. We're gonna educate others with adab. You're not gonna write in the newspaper and say that Muiz has done a very big blunder in saying this is halal when it's not, based on my research and knowledge, and all that. Sometimes we get too agitated. We think that we know a little bit, and we get too agitated. No, it's not supposed to be done like that. If you want to bring it forward, do so. But the most important thing that you have to start with is with adab. So I would encourage myself and each and every one of you here to not just take the halal logo, how to say it, like you whenever you say the halal logo, you refuse to use your mind and brain to look further. There are people who are like that. It's all right for you to trust the halal logo. It's all right. I mean, the organization who give out the halal logo they did their due research. Okay, they don't just chop the halal logo just like that. Okay, and I appreciate the effort that they took in giving the halal certification to whomever applied. Okay, but at the same time, we don't. The only thing that we don't question is the Quran and Sunnah. That's it. Again, so you should question everything else, but it should be done with due manners and adab.
So I just want to
Mm.
clarify, Ustazah. So if I want to drink non-alcoholic wine, I go to Saudi lah. Because Singapore say haram, so I go Saudi.
Yeah,
So I drink there.
yeah. In Saudi, it is halal, so come here. Saudi borders are going to be open 17 May onwards, and Singapore is not part of the blacklisted country. So yeah, ahlan, ahlan.
Okay, so for you guys listening, I hope you guys can see what we are trying to demonstrate here, that halal is a fluid concept. Yeah, it's not so clear cut all the time, and there's always
Yeah,
the
it's not.
shubha category.
Mm.
So
In fact, and Jooms, if you ask me, I would say that things that falls under the gray area, which is shubha, are lots more than halal and haram. Especially in the world that we are living today, the shubha things are just beyond, you cannot count. It's just a lot. It's just a lot. And especially if you are taking into consideration what Ustad mentioned last week, it's not only about the consumption, it's about building our character. If we are questioning that, then there's a lot of things that we have to relook into our grocery basket.
So, yes, as you mentioned that it is like a lot kan, macam whatever falls under shubha category is actually a lot. So within the shubha space, so let's say there's halal and then there's haram. So within the shubha space, what is the overall recommended approach and how should we handle such a situation? Like when you either you are in a supermarket ke, atau when you are in a country where it's like nothing is clear cut halal here. So within that space, what is the overall recommended approach for shubha?
It is said that living shubha is one of the way to strive for excellence, okay, which is ihsan. Ustad mentioned last week about ihsan, which is striving for perfection. So the effort that we put in living out the shubha things, that is already one of our way to strive that perfection, to strive that ihsan, to strive that excellence. And doing so, it will help to build our character as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to do it. Okay, so that is number one. Most of the times, Zooms and viewers, we fall into the trap of going ahead with shubha. Okay, we go ahead with shubha. Most of the time we fall, it's because we are misled by our appetite. And we are unchecked by knowledge. These two things, misled by appetite, unchecked by knowledge. Okay, because we take it as it is, as the surface says it's halal, we take it as it is. Okay, but again, I would like to reiterate again and again, it's not about shaming Muiz or any halal organization, but many times it's because our appetite says we need to eat, we need to consume it, and our knowledge says that, oh, we don't have to think further than the logo. That's why we fall into the trap. Okay, which brings us to this reflection that I think we need to do it regularly. Okay, which is, we live to eat, we eat to live. Many times we are confused. We are confused of this. We eat to live, we live to eat. Especially with all this food galore that we have. Singapore is food heaven. KL, Penang is food heaven. So with all this food galore that is in front of our eyes, we feel that we don't eat to live now, but we live to eat. Okay, I saw there is one status was being uploaded. I can't remember whether it was Facebook or IG. Before Ramadan, just before Ramadan, they say that last meal before Ramadan. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. A lot of people are gonna hate me after this, but I was when I read that status, I'm like, besok kiamat ke? Besok Ramadan tau, bukan kiamat. So like macam, you know, like 1 week before Ramadan, you would stuff yourself with foods which you would not otherwise consume it that way, just because next week is Ramadan. So I think it's a very high time for us to start reflecting and translate that reflection into actions, because sometimes we just reflect and put it in our book, and next year we revisit. Again, no, I think apart from reflecting, we need to translate that reflecting into action as well, because our stomach is not a dumpster just because tomorrow is Ramadan. It's wrong. It's wrong to have that kind of, really. I'm sorry for being very blunt and frank, but I think it's wrong to have that kind of concept when we consume food. Okay, because when we consume food, we need to have an end in mind. We begin with an end in mind. The moment you begin to consume, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, you need to have an end in mind. What do you want to achieve from this ibadah of eating? Because eating is an ibadah as well. So with an end in mind, what do you want to achieve? You just want your stomach to be full. You just want an Insta-worthy picture to tell people that, hey, I've had this one. Okay, hey, I visited this restaurant already. It's newly open and I'm there. I'm one of the first 100 customers. What is your end in mind? Or you want that food and drink that you consume to help you, to aid you in building your character. So begin with an end in mind on why you consume those food. Okay, and also we tend to confuse between our wants and our needs. Do you really need that food, or you just want that food? Okay, and while we are here, I would like to bring your attention to this one food. I'm sure you have heard of Wagyu, the meat.
Yes.
Wagyu, yeah, Wagyu meat. But do we realize how Wagyu meat come into the market? The process of Wagyu meat, on how the animal, it is slaughtered the right way, it is slaughtered the right way. Bismillah is recited and things like that. But how does it come into the market in the first place? How was the animal treated so that the Wagyu meat is derived? It's not as easy as, the cows are let outside to graze the grass and all that. They are confined in such a way that, all the lemak will be, Wagyu is about lemak and all that kind. That's why it's so expensive. And it's halal. Yes, it's halal. But the way it is processed, is it good for us? I mean, is it good in building our character? Will we be able to strive to the limit of ihsan, to the limit of perfection, when we consume things which are halal, and yet we know the animal is tortured? We are the Khalifa, right? We are the vicegerent. So we have to act like one. Just because Allah chose us as the Khalifa doesn't mean that we can do anything we want to the animals, I know the end product is halal. The end product is halal. You are eating Wagyu, which is halal, full stop. Okay, so if we want to talk about halal and haram, we will not be even having this discourse in the first place. The reason why we are having this is because we know there are more than just halal and haram. And particularly in this discussion, it's about shubha. So it could be halal, but is it tayyib? In Quran, in Surah Baqarah, mentioned about, he says, Ya ayyuhan nas, O people, is not even Muslim though. He doesn't specify this verse, this ayah to the Muslim or to the believers only. He says, Ya ayyuhan nas, which means O people. So everybody has got to take heed of this ayah. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, eat what is halal and tayyib, halal and tayyiban. So halal, we know what is halal, clear cut, it's halal. What is tayyib? Okay, viewers, what is tayyib? Quiz pula Ustazah.
Good.
Okay, so many of us would take it an easy way. What is tayyib? Tayyib is organic. You eat all organic food. Alhamdulillah, if you are financially able, I have no problem with you eating organic food. Okay, but for those of you who are not really financially able, does that mean that you are not taking up this verse, halal and tayyiban? Does it mean that you're not eating halal and tayyib food? Okay, when Allah wants us to eat halal and tayyib food, so I would say that the translation of tayyib into organic, it is not right, because tayyib is definitely not organic. Shaykh Hamza Yusuf, he said that tayyib in this ayah, it means wholesome. And what does wholesome means? Wholesome means it is healthy. Wholesome means it is clean, it is nutritious. When you eat something which is like so lemak, will it be nutritious? You might get cholesterol after that. So yes, it is halal. Yes, coming back to the Wagyu, I'm sorry for Wagyu lovers. I'm really sorry, but I think it's important for us to take charge and responsibility for our title as the Visigran Khalifa in this world.
Mm.
Okay,
Okay,
so
I want to just elaborate a bit about Wagyu in case there are some Wagyu lovers who are offended. Okay, so I just want to clarify certain things about Wagyu processes and how it's being made, because the thing about Wagyu is about the marbling of the meat. So the more the meat is marbled, that means there's more fat, so it's berlemak, so it's nicer. So that is what Wagyu meat is about lah. Whether you can treat the animal so well, or however it is that you are treating the animal, such that the meat of the animal is able to be produced and produced with such marbling effect. Okay, traditionally, if you look up Japan, Kobe Wagyu, kan, you will actually read up about how the Wagyu, the cows that produce Wagyu meat, they are actually being treated like the king of cows. So they are being
yeah, I think they are
raised,
being massaged and all that. Kan?
massage and all that. Yes, yes, yes.
Ah,
So tradition. So it
saya
will
manusia ni pun tak massage every day.
yeah, exactly. So they will massage, they'll give them the best, everything. So when I read about how macam these Wagyu cows are being treated, I feel like macam bagus lah, you jaga the cow before I eat the cow, kan. So macam it's the way that you raise and treat the cow is good. But unfortunately, what Ustazah was mentioning just now about macam the cows not being treated well before they are being slaughtered for consumption is actually what I would think is commercialization taking over. So
Okay,
people
okay.
will try to, these producers, they will actually try to find alternative ways of producing more Wagyu meat without the expensive treatment of the cows.
Okay, that
They
is
try to
where
short-
education is
shortcut.
important.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
where you try, when, like, let's say you know of a local supplier who imports Wagyu meat, right? Then it is up to that local supplier to make sure that that person, or let's say it's a Muslim butcher that imports Wagyu meat, that person knows where and how the cows were treated before they import, and that it's
Correct.
up to them to make the choice that when they import the Wagyu meat, is the Wagyu from cows that have been treated like kings,
Yang
and not
pergi
Wagyu
farm
from
semua lah.
cows that have been, not from the sources of macam farms yang what you say lah, treated in cramped conditions, not giving the
Yeah,
best
in
food,
cramp,
not
confined
given
and all that. Yeah.
and they're not given they're not given healthy food, because they are always macam given healthy food so that they can produce the fat around their meat, kan. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. So knowing the source is actually very important, and just in any industry, there is always macam the people who try to do it well and the people who shortcut and like
Shortcut.
and break all
Yes,
the
yes.
rules, and then they don't treat the animal well. So that is what Ustazah is referring to lah.
Yeah.
when-
So good news, Wagyu lovers, you can eat. It is halal, it is tayyib, provided it comes from the right source. Provided it comes from the right source.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
So do your research, your due diligence before you decide to purchase any food. Like, it's not only Wagyu, any food, any drinks that you would be putting into your body, which be translated into flesh and blood. We have to be very careful about it.
Ustazah, when I was listening to you tadi kan, there is a question that I want to ask, but we have like about 10 minutes left aja, so we're gonna try and make it quick.
Okay.
Okay, so just now you mentioned like when we choose the food that we eat, and then when we eat the food, when we're eating the food, is this building our character? So it is as if you are saying that when we eat the meat kan, all the properties of that animal becomes part of us. Is that right? Macam if the cow
That is
was
what I'm
treated
trying to
well,
say.
yeah.
Yeah.
So macam kalau cow
Whatever
pandai,
that we
kita pun pandai lah.
consume. That's another way of putting it. Okay, but what I'm trying to share just now was that whatever that we consume, whether it is food or drink, before it goes to the waste, it would be in our body first. Okay, it would turn and translated into flesh and blood before it would be going to our waste. So it definitely have a big effect on us. But when you say that if they are smart and we will become smart, that part I'm not very sure lah. Because the one that I'm very sure about is that all the food that we consume, it will be translated into our flesh and blood also. That is why there is a story during Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam time. There was this hadith, and this is in a hadith, and it's compiled by Imam Muslim actually. And there was a guy who kept asking Allah Subhanahu wa Taala for something. Okay. He keep asking, he keep making dua, supplication to Allah, and none of his supplication are accepted. Okay, so companions are a little bit surprised. Why is that so? Because Allah never rejects dua, right? So they came to Prophet and asked Prophet, what is wrong? What is it that is not done right from this guy? Okay, and Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned that his food is haram, his drink is haram, his clothing is haram. That's why when we begin just now, I mentioned that it's not only food and drink, it's about everything of our lifestyle. But what we are going to discuss today in this discourse is only specifically about food and drink. So back to the story of this guy, it is said that his food is haram, his drink is haram, his clothing is haram. How does he expect that his dua will be answered then? Okay, so this shows that our mind, our body, and our heart, it is all interconnected. It is linked. So one part is missing, one part is not good, it will affect the other. So this is the clear-cut one thought. This one you say that, but then this is because this guy, he consumed haram things. Again, we are not consuming haram things, we are only consuming the shubha. But consuming shubha would mean that we are mindlessly eating it. Again, we know it's not clear, and yet just because it's not haram, we are consuming it. So we are mindlessly consuming it, and it can lead to internal haram. If you do it on daily basis, something which is shubha is in a gray area, but you do it on daily basis, it would definitely lead into internal haram, and it would definitely also affect the quality of our lifestyle, our ibadah, and it's all interlinked and interconnected. So it's not about just eating to live, it's about to live a quality life as well. Because we do not want to live life in this dunya as it is. We want to live this dunya knowing that we have led a quality life, and to achieve that, to lead a quality life, it is all round out. It's about our food, it's about our drink, it's about our lifestyle, it's about everything. But the majority is about the food that we eat, because many of us, we eat to live, not live to. We live to eat, not eat to live. So that's why it's the food and drink that we consume is the majority part that would affect our lifestyle, and this is a lifestyle that we'll have to answer Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala about. So it might seem something simple as food and drink, but it is beyond simple actually.
Thank you so much, Ustazah, for the very insightful sharing. I'm like questioning some parts of my life now and the decisions I made.
Tell me about it. I was so thankful when this topic is proposed, because while I was doing my research, it's like a smack on my head as well. It's like, Nazira, what have you been doing? You know, and being the you know, like the financial minister of the house, I do the grocery shoppings and all that. The responsibility is on me also to ensure what are the things that I put on the table, what are things that I feed my kids, because for them now, my eldest is 8 years old. For him, whenever he sees the halal, like he wants to take candies, chocolate or whatever, right, he will tell me that Umi, it's halal, so I can take it. Because so I think for me, he's 8 years old, so I think it's the time for me to start telling him to read the ingredients now. Yes, it is halal, very good. The first thing that you look for is the halal sign. But there are more than halal sign. Okay, all the ingredients that he cannot pronounce, I tell him that it's not good and it's not tayyib. It's halal, but it's not tayyib. And obviously there are many of the ingredients he cannot pronounce yet. Some of the ingredients I also cannot pronounce, kind of blah blah blah. So for now it's working. He was like, I cannot read even this one. Then I told him, then you have to do a research whether it is tayyib or not. Yes, it is halal, but we want to be more than eating halal food. We want to be eating halal as well as tayyib food. And it's a process though. It is a process. It cannot happen overnight. For those of you who's gonna check your pantry after this, okay, please don't throw on anything which is not tayyib. it's a process. It's a process. It's gonna take years and years to inculcate in your daily living habits, inshallah. It's tough, it's a struggle. I mean, at least for me, it's tough, it's a struggle, but the good news is it's doable, it's achievable. And when we have support from people like Halal Furhan and all that, who dare to bring up this cause, okay, when I saw this topic, I'm like, she's looking for trouble, she's opening cans of worms. But I think but the thing is this, Jume, I think our community are ready. I totally believe, albeit you are opening cans of worms, I think it's the high time. Somebody has got to open up these cans, and I totally believe our community are ready for this. They might loathe it at first. This Jume, she has nothing better to do, and so the Nazira, nothing better to say. Okay, yeah, they might not feel very good at first, but they are so ready. They just need someone to push them, inshallah.
Inshallah, and I hope I hope we work on our delivery to make it like a kind one, and like something that I've always wanted to just macam present information for what it is, and then just leave it for you guys who are watching and listening to basically make your own choices. And we just want to empower you guys to make your own choices and make the choices apparent and available for your understanding. Like you don't like you sometimes people don't even know that they have a choice now. Yeah. So now we want to let you guys know that you have a choice. That you can choose. That even though something is halal, you can still choose not to consume it.
Something which is better.
Yeah, and even when something is macam in the shubha category, like you can choose to consume it or you can choose not to consume it. But Ustazah has already macam broken down the whole concept of macam shubha, and it's about making the best decision for you at that point in time, best decision for your faith and how it influences yourself and your life. Yeah.
Yes.
So I hope you guys got everything from Ustazah, and
inshallah
it helps you guys macam make better food and better eating decisions, the food decisions for yourself and for your families lah, inshallah. Okay, Ustazah,
may Allah
I
make it
have to end
easy.
this already. Yes. I have to end this already because if not I will lose this entire IG live, and I'm trying to save it.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Assalamualaikum Ustazah, thank you so much.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, I'll see you guys in the next live. Okay, bye.
Bye.